Avatar: The Way of Water. It's been 13 years since the release of the first Avatar movie, and at some point everyone kind of forgot that James Cameron promised to produce a huge amount of sequels. And now, there it is, the second Avatar, the highest grossing film out of all of the Hollywood productions released in 2022. There's a lot of logic in nominating the biggest commercial success of the year and a follow up to the arguably highest grossing movie of all times for the Best Picture at Oscars. Obviously, Avatar 2 doesn't deserve it purely from the creative perspective, but you cannot ignore $2 billion at the box office, even if we are dealing essentially with a theme park ride built around very expensive CGI. The CGI is at the center of it all, and of course, it is quite stunning. 13 years ago, Avatar was seen as something visually groundbreaking, but since then, the technology has been evolving and we were fed with high-quality CGI on a regular basis. So today, Avatar 2 is perceived as merely impressive, as you'd expect from a movie with something like a $400 million budget. It is also perceived as a brainless disposable fun, although it is not exactly what you'd normally expect from a movie with something like a $400 million budget. The plot of the movie, well, the plot of Avatar is irrelevant, because it is more of a theme park ride, not an actual film. It's not about the story, really, it's about the visuals. Which is probably a bit weird thing to say in a discussion of an unnecessarily bloated 3-hour-long movie. No, seriously, it is over 3 hours long, and the screenplay is not really there. We're watching a screensaver, and most of the people are kind of okay with this situation. Another reason why you don't really pay attention to the screenplay is the fact that Avatar, with all its enormous success, was never embraced by geeks. It is not Star Wars franchise where a random phrase whispered by a background character will be scrutinized compared to the information in the current canon, the previous expanded universe canon, deconstructed, reinterpreted, and then turned into some sort of a critique aimed at Disney, who is ruining everything. No, nobody gives a damn about the universe of Avatar, and nobody really remembers what happened in the first movie and how the story of Avatar 2 affects the world building of the series. Because Avatar is not really something that you analyze. It is something you watch with your family, you wear 3D glasses, and then you go home. Things could be a bit different if James Cameron tried to turn woke tricks on you like Marvel Universe, when you suddenly receive weird messages from a brainless movie. Cameron plays it safe. He tells you that family is important, not Fast and Furious important, but important. He tells you that colonialism is bad, then touches the subject of environmental issues and finishes it with the general idea that you probably shouldn't kill whales. I mostly agree, and I promise I won't kill whales unless they attack me or my family, because family is important, more important than whales. You should have your priorities in order. The general overview of the story goes kind of like this. The main character from the first movie now has a family and something like 5 kids. Some of them are adopted. Humans return to the planet of blue people to do some evil stuff. The family has to migrate from the woods they called home to a new beautiful location, tropical islands where you can do a lot of diving. Because it's a James Cameron movie, diving is important. There you can spend a couple of hours watching brilliantly executed CGI scenes about swimming underwater, over the water, and in the middle. You will also learn that the Smurf aliens come in different shades, and water Smurfs have greenish skin pigmentation, and bigger, longer, thicker, and apparently uncut tails. In the end, Smurfs will destroy a boat with evil whalers. That's about it. Some of the elements of the plot are going nowhere, but in this case it is probably okay because Cameron is setting things up for the sequel. Avatar 2 basically tells half of the story, And the other half you will see in 2024. Probably. Most probably, because Avatar 2 was shot back to back with Avatar 3. If you dig deeper into the storyline of Avatar 2, you may notice one interesting peculiarity. You're not the only person who forgot what happened in Avatar 1. The list of people who forgot the events of the previous movie also includes James Cameron. And some of the new stuff that he introduces to the plot practically destroys the integrity or even sanity of the world of Avatar. What happened to the precious resource from the first Avatar? Why does nobody care about it anymore? Why the new brain fluid resource and the immortality it grants is so important if you can transfer your consciousness to a new body like the main character from the first movie? What was the reason for sending Jake, that's the main character, what was the reason for sending him to this brave new world in place of his brother, if you have a technology of recording memories and personality? And you actually use it to effectively resurrect a villain from the first movie. A villain nobody remembers and nobody cares about. It all kind of collapses upon closer inspection. But you don't want to inspect it, because you don't care. And I don't care. Nobody cares. Enjoy the ride. So what have we learned from Avatar: The Way of Water? Greenish Smurfs have bigger tails. Family is important. Whales are smarter than you. Killing whales is bad. Colonialism is still bad. Expect fire Smurfs in Avatar 3 and underground Smurfs in Avatar 4. In the end, Avatar 2 is a reasonably fun movie if you turn off the brain, ignore the screenplay, and just watch blue people swimming in the ocean of expensive CGI.